me feeling like I'm academics. Can't run.
February 2026 is a perfect month. The first started on a Sunday, and it ends on a Saturday. The 28th is on Saturday. It won't happen until 2037 again. I guess. All right, what else is happening on the rap front? I'm going to Shade Room next. Oh, I didn't mean to react to this too. So Bow Wow said something, and I was thinking about it. I want to hear what you guys think.
They making good music. Simple. Ain't nobody making nothing timeless. Ain't nobody making music that makes the ladies cry or feel some type of way when they put it on. You ain't like it's a lot of right now music. You know what I'm saying? Even the biggest records, it's big, but I'm a. Let's see what it's gonna be at the finish line though.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can live in 5. You gonna care about this record 8 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
You might be like, I know, because it's gonna change. Music gonna change, but if you make that music that is timeless and you write it right and it lasts forever, you gonna be here. Like it's a difference. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what we missing. We missing substance. We missing.
Yeah, and substance isn't a prerequisite these days. But what he's saying is actually absolutely right. I believe the reason why records are coming and going and just either not hitting or maybe it's popping in the club for a little bit, but it's kind of pretty much forgotten. These days, I've had a criticism of music in the sense of the middle class of music. Music is becoming, it's turned into a, 1 second. Yeah. So what was I saying? Music is turning into, it's becoming like this proliferation of the top and the bottom, pause. And I got to say pause with that, but I hope you understand what I'm saying here, right? And since I'm the only one who's doing, so to speak, think pieces, I guess, in hip hop these days, you guys could take and clip this because I'm agreeing with Bow Wow. But I believe the middle class of music is out. So let me explain what I mean. At the very top of music, you got Kendrick, Drake, you got J. Cole, you have Future, you have a bunch of artists, Travis Scott. They're at the top of music. We know what they're going to do. They're going to sell out stadiums. They're going to sell out arenas. They are the guys. They're still the guys, right? Now, obviously, we do expect and we are worried for the changeover factor because these guys can't continue forever. Of the people I'm mentioning, I believe Kendrick is almost 40. Drake is almost 40. Future is already 40. And when you think about who else? Travis might be the youngest. Let's just look at that, right? How old is Drake? So Drake is turning 40 this year. How old is Kendrick? Kendrick is turning 38 this year, right? How old is J. Cole? J. Cole is already 40, and he's 41. And how old is Future? Future is 42. Now, I remember even Andre 3000, I forgot what age he even said it, but he said, honestly, he fell back from music because he really thinks it's a young man's sport. Now, I do think that the age range, and this is not an ageism type of conversation I'm trying to have here. I do think, the age range of music is definitely expanded, and of course, there's people who listen for different eras, so that's not really the conversation I'm trying to have. What I'm trying to say is that there's a deletion of the middle class. So eventually that top class, they're going to have a changeover because they're going to lose passion or they're just too rich or they're going to pursue other ventures. It's another conversation to say do we have people to replace them? Because usually the middle class, somebody breaks out and gets to the upper class. Travis was middle class for a while and then he got to the upper class and he's been there since. Now, I'm saying class, but I'm just talking about tiers, right? So the upper, like the top tier artists, which there are probably only 5 of them, right? Or maybe let's say under 10. They're there. What I believe has happened is there's a deletion of the middle class of music. What do I mean? The middle order guys that used to sell around 100,000, maybe 80,000, those guys, they're either all the way down or they broke out already. There isn't a stabilization of the middle class. And this is kind of like reflects the economy to a certain extent. As time goes on, without some correction, the middle class always get crunched. Like the middle class, what was considered middle class in the 60s and what's considered middle class now is, is very different. Could you survive off a middle class income then versus now? What I'm saying is that it's happening in music. Who am I mentioning? I'm mentioning the Polo G's. I'm mentioning the Roddy Riches. I'm mentioning the Lil TJs, the A Boogies of the world. I'm mentioning the Moneybagg Yo's. I'm mentioning those guys. They would be filling out that middle class of hip hop. They're not top echelon artists, but they're not bottom of the barrel either. And those guys used to be those middle order guys. What's also important to kind of like acknowledge is Rolling Loud and its lineup is a good example if you're gonna analyze that, right? Like, you're going to notice, like, Rolling Loud, with all due respect, and shout out to my man Tariq, and I will be at this event, by the way, too. Other than the top guys, you don't see much middle order guys. You see guys on the bottom kind of coming up. The middle order, the middle level artists have been gutted out. Now, there's a few still there, but think about how many middle level artists we used to have that are kind of just not really relevant anymore. And I think that's why Rolling Loud didn't book them, honestly, right? Yes, Sexy Red, middle, right? Middle class. Bossman D-Lo, middle class. No cap to a certain extent, middle class. But the rest of these guys, they're guys that, and when I say bottom level, it's not that they're trash, it's that they're on the come up, right? So like all the middle level veteran artists, they're kind of been gutted. They're either completely irrelevant or they got no motion or they've given up on music, period. Right? So you're seeing a bunch of people there, and the only people who escape it, like, I know you're going to be like, what about Chief Keef? He's a legend. Legends, you don't have to even rank him. You know what I mean? So, like, for example, somebody like Kodak, like, yes, he could be like middle order if he's not like a top tier artist, but he's like, he would get booked just off being a legend. It's Kodak. We're not seeing active middle order guys that you're like, if he drops, he's going to do 80. If he drops, he does 70. Yo, whatever. It's either these, we're teetering on superstar versus the middle order. And even down to being like, let's say somebody like Yeet. Like Yeet, I think in a different era, would be like kind of like middle order. Right? Now, he's teetering on superstar. He's ascended up. There is no middle class of music anymore. Again, this Rolling Loud lineup isn't probably the best representation, but you could use it as a representation. Most of these artists, they're on the lower level other than the headliners, and it's not as a diss, they're heading up. But there aren't like these established guys that you're like, oh, this guy's been consistent for the last 4 or 5 years. He's a veteran. He's still lit. Those guys have kind of like really dwindled down. And I think what happened at Rolling Loud, those guys have outpriced themselves. They're not that relevant anymore. They're used to getting like 150,000 or 100,000 per show. And Rolling Loud probably said, listen, we're going to spend the money on a headliner. Let's just get a bunch of guys who are on the come up. So I think the middle class in music is completely dead. Let me tell you what a healthy middle class is, right? Let's go back to Rolling Loud. I don't know. Let's go to 2018 Rolling Loud, right? We'll look at this. The idea of a 2018 Rolling Loud, right? Give me 1 second. Okay. This is a good one right here. Okay. Jesus, can we get the fuck? Okay. All right. Sorry, Chad. Just need to get. All right, here we go. Oh my God, it's still okay. Here we go. So like back then, yeah, J. Cole, superstar. Uzi's kind of right there because this is coming off of Love Is Rage 2. Then we have these guys are middle order at this point. Young Thug is middle order. He doesn't really get to like kind of bordered by superstar status until 2020, which is so much fun. But we have A$AP Ferg. At that time, Playboi Carti was in that mix. Young Dolph, Currency. You could actually see there was a bunch of people who were active. Even Youngboy was there, who were active on the scene that were viable artists, but they were middle class artists. And I'm not saying that they're trash. I'm saying in terms of their status, right? Middle class, right? The Navs, the Fetty Waps. The Trippie Reds, Chief Keef at that time because he was more active on the scene. Rich the Kid, right? That was middle class, right? We're talking about Ski Mask, Machine Gun Kelly for show, Lil Yachty, perfect. And then right on the superstar stats, we would have these people like, 21 Savage or Rick Ross or, maybe I don't know if Wiz Khalifa at this point, he might have just been legend status, but like a Gucci, a Kevin Gates. My point is this now. These days, there is no more middle class in music. You're either completely irrelevant or on the come up, or you're a superstar, or you're a legend. There is no more, hey, I am the old reliable artist that, hey, I'll never be J. Cole, but I'm like super viable. And I'm like the consistent over the next 5 years. I'm going to keep, I drop, I sell 50. I drop, I sell 60. I drop, I sell 40. I'm that consistent guy. Those people are out of here. They're all out of here. The atmosphere favors a few of these artists that's teetering or at superstar level, and everybody else is like on this come up like rat race on getting the next hit, trying to build their new artists on that level too, who are trying to, just jump from competing among everybody to being superstars. But that's even harder because there's no more middle class. There's no more middle class, chat. This is why I think also Rolling Loud has been suffering. The middle order artists are gone. So put it like this: Rod Wave is not a middle order artist. He's selling out a tour by himself. He doesn't need to be on your lineup as a middle order artist. He's a superstar. Future, superstar. Travis, superstar. Cardi, superstar. Youngboy, superstar. Where are these other artists that you're like, this guy could do 5,000 venue, like a 5,000 stop venue every place, and he could sell 40, 50,000 record. He's consistent. He has a name enough. And am I making sense? Am I making sense? No. Platboy Max isn't necessarily middle class. Platboy Max is he's on the like that introduction class, and if he lasts long enough, pause, and he makes big enough hits, he'll jump closer to stardom. What I'm saying is that there's no middle level anymore. It makes sense though, right? Like we could talk about all these artists. Like again, I'd say Lil Durk was I'd say kind of right around his arrest, he was a middle order type artist. Right? He could sell like 100, and you would kind of think even if he didn't sell 100, he'd do 80. Those people are rare and far in between. I hope you guys understand that. So I'm agreeing with Bow Wow to a certain extent, and the extent I'm agreeing with him on is that obviously, we talked a lot about business today, and that definitely affects why that is. So economics and also the business of music, and I do think touring has been the most popular thing it's ever been. It used to be a big deal back in the day. Kanye rapped about, we talked about it yesterday, Kanye rapped about my big brother was Big's brother, and he rapped in the second verse about, when Jay announced a show at the Garden. And that was like a big thing. Like he announced a show at the Garden. Like it was a big thing that Jay would sell out the Garden. Like these days, Rod Wave does the Garden twice. Like, touring is much more popular now too. You get what I'm saying? Like some of these guys could, but it's only a few artists. The rest of these guys can't sell a ticket to save their life. And I think that's why Rolling Loud has suffered. Like, where are the guys that are going on tours? Like, I'll look at a venue right now, right? Popular venue in New York City. It's called 5,000 cap venues in NYC. Let me see. The Paramount is one. Let's look at that. Is it Paramount? Paramount event. Is it called Paramount? Something like that. Brooklyn Paramount. Okay. Brooklyn Paramount event calendar. I want to just see what rappers are going through there. Like, you used to have a lot of rappers like doing these venues because that's where the middle class artists go. They're the ones selling out the 2,000 or 5,000 venues. That's where the middle class guys go. There's nothing wrong with it. And I hope people don't get hung up on colloquials. I'm not saying middle class like these guys ain't good. I'm saying these things as this is what's happening in terms of artists of a certain level. Look, we're not going to see no hip hop for the most part. Shit, Andrew Callahan is going to be doing some shit. But where's hip hop? Where's hip hop? We're into March. Where's hip hop? Okay, Division's here. They're R&B. Where's hip hop? Where's hip hop? We're in April. Where's hip hop? We have Dave. Yeah, Dave is a middle order artist, right? He's doing 2 nights back to back. But where's hip hop? Where is it? This is New York City. Obviously, I'm gonna pick another venue too. So now we're at the end of May. We're not seeing no hip hop on this shit. Okay, so let me look at another venue. Terminal 5. Terminal 5 capacity. This is a venue that could hold 3,000 people. I remember seeing Uzi here for the first time. Okay, let's look at their event calendar. And that's what I'm saying. The middle class is gone, right? Like, how many times are we going to hear Kendrick's doing a stadium, Drake's doing 10 shows back to back wherever, Travis is doing like a fucking country. Like, we're hearing like some of these guys at the top, they're doing crazy shows. But then what happened to the middle guys? What are they doing? Like, why aren't they on tour? Is this Terminal 5? Yeah, it is. All right. I'm looking to see somebody. Look, there's no hip hop. No hip hop. Where are they at? Okay, let's go to another venue. Sony Theater. Sony Theater. Event calendar. Let's look at that. Okay, let's see. Okay, Bob Marley tribute, but that's not, Like Tory Lanez would have been like middle class, right? Look, where's hip hop at? Where's hip hop? It's not here. And so if you want to, like, and I know these guys didn't just disappear from the face of the earth. Half of them ain't putting out music. Half of them, like, they're kind of like aware that shit ain't the same anymore. And I'm just kind of pointing out that there's a deletion of the middle class of hip hop. Now, let's look at this. Barclays event calendar. Now, remember, there should be way more middle class rappers, right? Like, this is how it works. We call 1% rich, right? We call 1% rich. There's way more middle class than 1%. So if we have, let's say we have 10,000 artists, 9,000 of them should be middle class. 1,000 of them should be like that higher class. And what I'm trying to say is that, let me see if I could, is there a better calendar here? Okay, well, this is probably tough to use. You know why? Because the Nets play there. But what you're going to realize is that you'll see more tours and shows by the bigger artists than the middle class, or so to speak, who should have been middle class artists. Let's look at not Barclays. Let's look at I can't use Madison Square Garden either because the Knicks play there. Let's get Prudential Center events. Yeah, that's they have NFL there, but it's not whatever. Okay, all right. The NFL, NHL is there. I mean, okay, cool. Boys for Life tour. Bow Wow stay on like some reunion tour. Yeah, how many reunion tours is Bow Wow gonna do? I can't even hate. That's just fire. I don't see nobody here either. Let me see Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden. Actually, let's use Toyota Center. Events. Fantasia. Cardi B's going on a tour, yeah. So we see Cardi B. Cardi B's coming through. Let's see. Millennium Tour's coming through. Not hip hop, but Cat Williams coming through. Who else? Not too sure who this is. Peso Pluma's coming through. And all those guys are really at the top of the totem pole, right? Prince Royce, Romeo Santos. I saw them last night. All right. Oh, A$AP Rocky. Oh, wow. A$AP Rocky's doing an arena tour. Oh, wow. Shout out to A$AP. Maybe I'm sleeping on A$AP Rocky. I didn't think he could do an arena tour. And Doja Cat. So everybody that would be doing an arena is like, they're top of the totem pole. What I'm saying is that think about somebody who's a middle-class artist. We can't find no tours they on. They're not like, this is why there's just a deletion of it. Those guys really, they've overpriced themselves, so Rolling Loud don't want to book them, right? Because like these guys aren't going to go from getting paid, because just a couple years ago, some of these guys are getting paid $125,000, $150,000. Now, really, they're worth about like $40,000. They're not going to take that, right? So Rolling Loud's like, all right, we're not booking you. We're not giving like pricing you for your name. You're not hot anymore. These guys don't drop much music anymore. They're not doing tours. And that's why we're seeing a deletion of the middle class, right? So for the majority of artists we're talking about, they're either like starting up and like they got a little bit of buzz, but they're either here or here. We don't see a bunch right here. And that's the problem, I think, right? So I'm kind of agreeing with Bow Wow a bit. But, well, he didn't make that point. He made a point about substance. I do think substance matters. Right? Like a lot of people aren't making music that lasts beyond a trend getting old. And these days we're burning out trends like in a week.
That's why we feel good when certain rappers drop. It's almost like therapy or like, you just been healed from something. It's like, oh my God, thank God he's coming out. I got tired of hearing it. Finally I got something I can just ride to and dissect and listen to and, like they ain't making good music. It's simple. Ain't nobody making nothing timeless. Ain't nobody making music that makes the ladies cry or feel some type of way when they put it on.
That's why Rod Wave is really popular.
You ain't like it's just a lot of right now music. You know what I'm saying? Even the biggest records, it's big, but let's see where it's gonna be at the finish line though.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can live in 5. You gonna care about this record 8 years from now?
The problem with what Bow Wow was saying is that he's from a different era where it took a while to start up an artist. And after they invested in you a lot, they wanted these records to be timeless. They, there was much more care in creating these records. And also, you had to think about the future if you wanted to really be beneficial or you want to profit from everything you've done. So you were really trying to think to the future with these records and whatever moments. These days, if a motherfucker get hot for 2 years, technically he could be set for life. There's way more money in music right now. So no one is out here saying, yo, let me think about if my music is going to last for the next 5 or 10 years. They're thinking as long as my shit goes up right now, I'm straight. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah.
You might be like, I know, because it's going to change. Music going to change, but if you make that music that is timeless and you write it right and it lasts forever, you going to be here. Like it's a difference. You know what I'm saying?
100% a difference. All right, my man Prescription P got suspended. Who else? Okay, let me get to Shade Room real quick.